chapter number 8, verse 7 to 12. I'm asking everyone to bear with me on this morning. We're going to do the sermon a little bit different than normal with the PowerPoint. For our youth on today. We will be talking about the gospel of Hollywood. The gospel of Hollywood. The gospel of Hollywood. The book of Ezekiel, chapter number 8, verse number 7. And when you have it, say, I have the word. And he brought me to the door of the court, and when I looked, behold, a hole in the wall. Then he said unto me, Son of man, dig now in the wall. And when I had digged in the wall, behold, a door. And he said unto me, Go in, and behold, the wicked abominations they do here. I went in and saw, and behold, every form of creeping thing, abominable beasts, and the idols of the house of Israel portrayed upon the wall round about. And there stood before them 70 men of the ancients of the house of Israel. In the midst of them stood Jesniah, the son of Shaphan, and every man his censer in his hand, and a thick cloud of incense went up. Then he said unto me, Son of man, hast thou seen the ancients of the house of the Israel do in the dark? Every man in the chambers of his imagery. I'm trying to keep that in mind. The chambers of his imagery. For they say, The Lord seeth us not, for the Lord hath forsaken the earth. The Lord hath forsaken the earth. I want to talk to you just for a little while about the gospel of Hollywood. The gospel of Hollywood. Anytime that we deal with this subject, it's always a little tough because I don't want to speak against the other God that you serve, which is on your television. That when we talk about this subject, it's difficult to approach this subject and tread and walk lightly because you don't want to offend anybody. But I do want to get down to the nitty-gritty of the gospel of Hollywood and Satan as he hides behind Hollywood images. The first thing that we have to understand that when it comes to this, we have the ultimate power of suggestion. That when we talk about the gospel of Hollywood, Hollywood is such a wonderful medium because it has the power of suggestion that takes place. That any time that we look at advertisers, they're always advertising on television shows. They're always advertising the products, McDonald's and Coca-Cola and iPhones and Nike and everything uses advertisement to promote their business. Now, why do they use television for the advertising? Is because medium is a huge source of influence on our society. Has anyone ever said somewhere and you're watching a commercial and all of a sudden the thing that they were advertising was the thing that you absolutely wanted? There are times when I'm sitting there and I have no inclination to go to Burger King until all of a sudden the advertisement comes on and they show the most wonderful hamburger with the bacon and the cheese on top with the lettuce, tomatoes, and the onion and some kind of special sauce. And the first thing I tell my children is, let's go to Burger King. The reason is because at any time that I watch television, it is the ultimate power of suggestion. That's why advertisers spend millions and millions of dollars doing Super Bowl ads simply to put their product out there, even if it's for 30 seconds, because they know the power of suggestion. It's amazing how Nike runs their corporation because they bring in people to advertise their product. They continue to stay on top because they know how to market and give the power of suggestion to our young people. I remember a while ago when I was back in the day, and I had a friend of mine when I was like 19 or 20 years ago. And he said, I want to get a tattoo of the Nike sign. And I said, that'd be the dumbest thing in the world because eventually Nike's going to go out of style and you're going to sit there with that tattoo. Now, who proved wrong in that situation was me, because I felt like that we would eventually get beyond the power of suggestion. But because Nike and McDonald's and these products are so well at suggesting to you that you absolutely have to have this product, that many of us will run out and buy the product even if it's inferior to what we know. Because if the truth be told, when it comes to McDonald's, Wendy's, or Burger King, it does never beat home cooking. I have a witness in here. It never beats home cooking. I would much rather have a home-cooked meal, but there are times where just because of the power of suggestion, I want exactly what's on the television. So when you think about Hollywood and the power of suggestion, sometimes we have to ask ourselves, even when it comes to movies, and all of us say, well, I know it's not real, but does it modify my behavior? So the question becomes, when we go down and watch movies that we know is not good for us, but we oftentimes say, but it's okay because I know it's not real. But the question becomes that when I watch suggestive material, does it really alter my behavior? And the answer to that question is absolutely it does. Because what you have to understand about images that come at your mind is your mind works on two tiers. It works on the conscious as well as the subconscious. Now, while your conscious mind is being entertained, your subconscious mind is receiving images and things are being planted. And now your subconscious mind is the foundation for your conscious mind. So anytime that you get a thought that you recognize, it's because something has been planted in your subconscious that eventually comes to your conscious. The perfect example of that was the movie Jaws that came out in 1975. Everybody that went there said, we know that there's no such thing as Jaws. We know there's no such thing as this big killer shark that's out there. But after the movie came out, it was interesting to note that everybody's behavior was modified. Because in 1975 is recorded as the lowest tourist beach attendance ever that they have been keeping that total. So what they had was, when they saw Jaws, even though they knew it wasn't real in their conscious mind, something in their subconscious mind said, we ain't going to the beach this year. Oh, no, I have a witness in here. That even what they decided to do was, they asked for beach patrols to be on lookout for sharks. And people would not go to the beach unless they doubled up the people that were out there searching for sharks. Even though to get a shark bite, it's about 1 in 100,000. That did not go up because the movie Jaws came out. The same risk that you had going to the beach before Jaws was the same risk you had going to the beach after Jaws. So what was this inclination that everybody went into fear and shock? Because the power of suggestion was so strong that all of a sudden it plants in your subconscious and you react to it through your conscious. For example, if I came up with a movie and I showed y'all a clip 100 times of somebody jumping behind this desk and scaring you, somebody would finally suggest to me, Pastor, I want you to use a different desk, simply because the suggestion had been placed in your mind, and now all of a sudden it's acting out in your conscious mind. Oh, y'all still with me in here? You got to understand that anytime that we deal with this consciousness and subconsciousness, that they actually did studies about the subconscious mind and how it relates to us. They did a study that I thought was interesting about a group of people who came in. They showed them an hour clip, and in that hour clip, they kept showing suggestive materials that they would flash to your subconscious that we couldn't comprehend. And in that flash, they showed people who were sitting in the seat who were not able to get up out of the seat. Eventually, they stopped the show and they told everybody to get up. Only half the audience was able to get out of their seat, while the other half seemed to struggle to get out and could not stand up. The reason is because once it plants in your subconscious, it starts to play out in your conscious. They did another study with a young lady who went to a toy store, and the psychologist that was there said this, I want you to go in this toy store that has 1,000 toys, 3 tiers of toys in this toy store. Go out and pick any toy that you want. But as he talked to her for 10 minutes, he kept saying the word giraffe to her without her realizing. He would say, go in the store, giraffe, and grab anything that you want. He said it about 50 times in the conversation without her knowing it. When she went in the store, he handed her an envelope and said, I'm going to predict what toy you're going to get. She went in, bought the giraffe, and came out. When she opened the envelope, it said giraffe. She said, how were you able to do that? It wasn't the fact that he knew, it was the fact that he suggested. So when we think about Hollywood and its power of suggestion, does it modify our youth's behavior when their minds are actually in a stage of growth? That if I plant enough suggestion in their mind, no matter how much we preach this gospel, they already have a set morality in their minds that they are not listening to us. I guarantee you that no matter how much we preach, no sex before marriage, and they will even repeat it back to you, but in their subconscious mind, they don't believe anything that we just told them. No matter how much we preach against homosexuality, no matter how much we preach against no alcohol, no weed, no matter how much we preach against drugs, it has been planted in their subconscious mind through suggestion that all of it is morally okay. So that's why we have such a battle with our youth, is because we have not poured into them like we have ought to pour into them. I wish I had a witness in here.